This is Kin Kong Moy, also known as the Fighting Fashionista, fighting for Cage Titans November 3rd. It's been 2 years since I've been in the cage, and I'm ready to put on a show and show you guys everything I've learned in the past 2 years. Well, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a fucking psycho, but I miss being allowed to just hurt people. I, to be honest, love the violence of it. I think that, you know, I'm a civilized person in a civilized society, so in my day-to-day, I treat everyone cordially with respect, but I really like hurting people, and I like when they're trying to hurt me, and I like to just find out, you know, in the wild, who gets to eat, who gets to live, and in the cage, obviously someone stops it before it gets that far, but I like to find out with everyone I'm against, like, you know, who is going to be the last man standing. And that plays into my fighting style too. I love it when we're both dogged and tired and injured and hurting and on the cusp of breaking down. And I like to, you know, I know that you have to short circuit me. You have to take me completely out cold for me to stop. And I love that moment when my opponent realizes he doesn't want this as much as he thought. And then it's when I smell the blood in the water and I really get to have my fun. And that's what I miss the most. Well, I'd say in general, over the course of my time in the sport, you know, it's been like 10 years of competition, or 11 almost now. You know, the skill levels are just getting better. The amateurs are getting better and better. I mean, you see kids, I mean, like Jacobo as an amateur, that's insane. But there's a lot of very skilled amateurs like that now. His last opponent, Will Smith, was amazing. Even, you know, from other teams, you got like up-and-comers like, you know, Mitch Raposo even, who's, you know, very skillful. The level of amateurs is rising. The level of competition is rising. The pros you see now, compared to the pros back then, are much more polished, much more ready for that next stage. So I've seen the promotions getting better, and I think more and more fighters these days are understanding the game. It's funny because back then I wouldn't want to do interviews. I didn't want to sell tickets. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to be in the gym training. But I'm realizing more and more that it's a business, and a lot of fighters have embraced that and become, you know, personalities bigger than the cage. And I'm realizing that that is part of the industry and part of the future of the sport. That being said, I'm going to be real. On that note, I've seen that part of the trend of becoming the personality, becoming the household name, is a lot of people are taking easier and easier fights. Even as I was coming up, the old school pros are like, man, kids these days, they always just take easy fights. No one wants to really fight. And I think that they have a point, and that trend is just continuing. I would say that what is the same is my fighting spirit. I think has always been my best attribute. I've been behind many fights, you know, in many fights. I've been hurt, I've been winded, I've been injured, and I'm always coming for the finish. I mean, a lot of people out there are sportsmen and they're just trying to win. I'm trying to end it. I want, in the most primal, visceral way, for it to be clear who would have, you know, if this were out there, who would have walked away. So I've always, that's been my biggest weapon. And I've broken, I think everyone I've ever beaten, except for a couple times I might have short-circuited someone, but I've seen them break before the finish came. So I'm bringing that intensity and that fighting mentality to the cage. But again, I've had some time off, and I've developed a whole new set of skills. And I think that before I was, you know, a little more frantic, and I didn't necessarily, I feel like now I've become both more patient and more deliberate about where I try to hurt the person, developing power, generating power so that I can more effectively hurt the person, take my time planting so I can really do some damage, and, you know, maybe a couple elbows, knees, some clinch game, plugged a few holes in my wrestling game, which has always been one of my weakest areas. And I think that combining that with the jiu-jitsu and the striking I already had, I think I'm going to come back. I'm going to have a similar flavor, but way more polished and way more dangerous than ever before. I would say that what's been interesting with, I'm sure it's no secret in the MMA world that Redline Fight Sports is no more. So for half of this, more than half of this training camp, I've been kind of homeless. So it's important for me to thank Jason at the UFC gym. He's taken me in, he's allowed me to do a lot of my training there, and he's actually helped assemble a really good squad of guys for me to work with. So I would say over there I've been training a lot with Johnny Campbell, Daniel Pita, Jacobo's been coming down there, Lohan Esteves, nasty dude from Brazil. There's been a bunch of different just really badass like guys like Phil Da Silva, who, you know, is from Redline, and elsewhere have been coming in to help me get ready for it. I've been training with Anderson Silveiro, my longtime jiu-jitsu coach at Brazil 021 in Medford. And I'll put it like this, like he's, Rob Font's jiu-jitsu coach, and you've seen what he's been doing in the UFC. So having someone like that in my corner has been so much help, and this kept me sharp and even maybe better, even though I haven't had, the normal squad behind me. And then, of course, now that we've got a place at Citadel Martial Arts, I've been working with Paul Rosado, my coach since day one, Eric Grossman, one of my coaches since day one, Mark Meltzer sharpening my Muay Thai skills, bringing, again, some sneaky elbows, knees, things that you haven't really seen from me in the past. So I'd say that it's been a little bit mixed, but between Citadel, which is, now here, the UFC gym, which I'm going to be representing in this fight, as well as Citadel, and Brazil 021, who's taught me so much of my jiu-jitsu. I'd say that it's not been the way that I foresaw a camp going, but I think the final product will speak for itself once I get in there and do some work. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those things, when you do it all the time, it just comes right off, and it has been a while. So I'm not the happiest clam right now, but I'm doing what I gotta do, and the weight always, I've been pretty serious for the last couple weeks. The weight, just when the time is right, my body seems to know it'll come off, and then we'll do the water cut. So, obviously, I'm not looking forward to any of that shit. Nobody likes that. I am looking forward to, once I've rehydrated, once I've, replenished my fuel, getting in there with that behind me and just focusing on smashing someone's face, and that's what I'm looking forward to, the good stuff. And of course, looking forward to some fried seafood down in Plymouth after I'm done with that. I am beyond stoked. God, I feel like a broken record, but I've said this so many times, that is the best place to fight. I've cornered so many fights there, and I've wanted to fight there so bad. I fought for pretty much everywhere in New England. Even fighting for Bellator, and I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, probably not, they're not watching, but I honestly think that the atmosphere at a Cage Titans show is better than the bigger shows that I've been for. I think that is the best atmosphere I've ever seen, and I've been at the edge of the cage watching my teammates just wishing so badly that it could be me. And funny enough, I fought with Cage Titans in Boston before, not at Plymouth. I had my pro debut with Cage Titans, but I've never had the privilege of fighting in front of Plymouth Memorial Hall, and I'll be damn sure to put on a show so they take me back, because that energy is unmatched and I want a part of it. I am fucking terrified. My heart is pounding whenever I just think about it, and I'm talking about the atmosphere there. To be honest, it's funny. I'm always scared when I fight, but the fear brings my adrenaline out, and that makes me more dangerous. So I'll be real. I'm terrified. This kid's an unknown. He's hungry. He's trying to come in here and shit in my cornflakes, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that scared me. But when I'm scared, I'm the most dangerous. So he should be a little bit worried about that. Just to be clear, I know that I've stepped away from the game for a long time. Again, completely circumstantial. I've wanted to fight this whole time. And yeah, people probably know that I'm doing a lot of the style consulting now. And well, it's been going pretty good. Boston Magazine interview, had some big clients in the State House. That's good and all. And I love it. But I need to fight. That's an intrinsic part of me. That's been me for the last 10, 11 years of my life. So I know I've been out for a little while. I promise I'm back. I've never really gone. I've been at the edges waiting for this. And let's be, real. I'm coming off a loss in my last fight, but I've been, formerly was number one in New England. I've always been at the top of the league. And I think that, there's some really good guys here, and I know I need to earn my shot and work my way up, but I think that, and the title contention in Cage Titans is all over the place, but let it be known without a doubt that my name is in there, in that pool of names that could be drawn. And I'm I don't think I'm special just because I used to be, up there, but I'm going to work my way up and earn my shot. But whoever is sitting at the top, even if it's my friend, I'm really cool with Jay Perrin, and I respect what he's done, but whoever is there, I want a piece of that. It's true. You can just search me on Facebook. That's my main page. But in terms of Instagram, that's where the good stuff happens. Instagram / or at King Kong Muay. That's my MMA page. Mostly just clips of me doing weird shit in the gym. And then Style Me Boss, Style Me BOS is my style page. And if you check me out on Facebook.com/StyleMeBoss, you can see some free fashion advice. People pay me a pretty penny to spend time with them and to show them these concepts and techniques. But I just like to help people look better. So I put a lot of really high-level great, insightful content on that for free. So everyone, you gotta check me out at facebook.com/stylemeboss. And just, you know, a couple little tricks here or there to up your game. What else is there to say? The brand of violence that I bring to the cage, I promise you have not seen that for 2 years, because one of us is getting fucked up. That's how it goes. One of us. I don't care which of us, but I'm doing everything within my pretty considerable power to make it the other guy. But that brand of entertainment, relentless action, that's what you're gonna see Cage Titans November 3rd. So check me out on my social media, representing Citadel Martial Arts and UFC Gym Boston. Thank you, Ambassador to Fighters, for having me here. Peace out.